Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GnWC Weekly. It is Thursday, April 14th, just after SmackDown. I'm the Duke, and I'm joined by my good buddy.
I'm watching the Islander game, dude. Gonna be back on the commercial.
So we'll just record during each commercial.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me. The Islander game's on.
Okay.
Ryan Strome just scored, by the way. It's 5-3 Islanders. Spoiler, if you're taping it.
I'm so interested in the New York Islanders.
Just because your team left your city twice in the last 32 years doesn't mean you can harp on my team because they still play in my hometown. Well, not really. They're in Brooklyn now. So
that's very good.
Not really.
That's very good. Anymore. But that's Angry Larry. I'm the Duke, and let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
News and notes, Larry. Let's do it.
You have 2 minutes. Oh, okay. News and notes. All right. So, a couple injuries this week in the WWE, as always, because everyone gets injured all the time now, it seems. AJ Styles hurt himself in the SmackDown taping. If you didn't watch the show tonight, Del Rio suplexed him off the top rope on his head.
Oh, gosh.
AJ, you know what? It's not bad as far as what like his spirits are on Twitter and stuff like that. It was a stinger, and I think he's not missing any time. I think he's set to wrestle this weekend and not not be out of action. But Bray Wyatt over in Italy hurt his calf and/or ankle in a match with Roman Reigns that lasted 3 minutes before Bray Wyatt couldn't go anymore.
Oh,
and it seemed, according to reports, it wasn't any particular move. Bray was just backing up into the corner and just something freak happened. His leg slipped or something. And it doesn't look good, but
you know what? WWE I did that. I've had 2 serious injuries. One of them was playing basketball with people. I didn't jump and come down on someone's foot or anything like that. I was just backing up to get on defense completely by myself, rolled my ankle, tore ligaments in my ankle. And yeah, that was one of the most significant injuries. Both of my significant injuries have been just freak, stupid accidents like that. So it's one of those things where you're like, come on, how could he do that? But I mean, I've done it. I'm not going to harsh on him. So
I stepped off my friend's front step to go to my car and rolled my ankle, and I couldn't move for like an hour. I was just laying there. Then he comes to the window. He's like, "Yo, you all right?" I'm like, "I hurt my ankle." He's like, "Idiot!" And he shut the window, and I just was like laying there, like, what am I supposed to do?
Hey, with friends like these.
Yeah, I know, right? Speaking of with friends like these, though. That WWE class action lawsuit, remember I brought it up a couple episodes ago?
Yeah.
About the network royalties and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, it's been dropped.
Oh, wow.
The leader of the coalition, the head pitchfork.
Wasn't it Dupree?
Rene Dupree, yeah. He was leading the charge over lost wages because of the WWE network shows not giving him royalties and a decrease in DVD sales. And nope, WWE really shut the book on him. They treated him like he took Bob Holly's rental car and beat it up. Basically.
I don't know what that means. I don't understand the metaphor.
That is your homework. Type in Rene Dupree, Bob Holly rental car in Google and see what comes up.
Okay.
So
it's better not be some weird fan fiction.
No, it's a weird fan fiction. That gives me an idea, though. I'm gonna write that down. So the wrestling world lost 2 people this week. Balls Mahoney, ECW original, and Blackjack Mulligan passed away. So sympathy to their families and all their friends and stuff. Kind of sucks. Kind of seems like every month there's a couple people that, and I guess
people age though. I mean, I'm not trying to be glib, but
Balls Mahoney was pretty young.
Blackjack
Mulligan, that's true. Was in that range of.
Well, Balls Mahoney had been having issues, right? I mean, not Balls Mahoney. Blackjack Mulligan had been having issues for a while, right?
Yeah. And Balls Mahoney was, I don't know how he died or what. No, it hasn't been released how he died, what he died of. But he was a heavy abuser at one point. I think he even acknowledged abuser. So same thing with Axl Rotten. You know, even when you get clean, like that stuff just already took a toll on your body, and it just sucks.
Yeah, your body and your mind.
Yeah, and I think Eddie Guerrero, that kind of like everything he's done and then like he was living a healthy, clean, good life, and then it just, that damage was done, and just one day it just happens, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that stinks. I hope we don't have to report on this every month like it seems like we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's rough.
I have some Lucha Underground news here, and
By the way, hang on. I need to.
yeah,
I just need to backpedal a little bit.
yeah.
I wasn't trying to be like callous there. It's just on the one hand, you do have Blackjack Mulligan who's been having issues and he's not young. But on the other hand, you have the Balls Mahoney thing where
Well, we were justifying that the
yeah.
fact that we're always bringing it up. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
if
That's
we've been
what I was
watching wrestling
trying
for
to
40
do.
years.
Yeah.
It's like the cycle of life. Like every
Right.
year, somebody's going to be
Yeah, when
unfortunately
someone's
passing.
yeah, when someone was 30 years old when we first started watching them, for us they're 60 something now, and
Yeah.
depending on how well they've treated themselves, that can be old.
Could be.
60's not the new 20
Yeah.
when you've
It's just like
been
when people say,
when you've
like,
been
oh my
taking the
God,
bumps
someone
that
passes
these
away
guys
every
have.
day. Well, yeah, obviously someone passes away every day.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that's still not a tragedy, though. And
Oh
it's
no,
sad, and it
absolutely,
is.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and yeah,
I
definitely feel
understand
for their
what you mean.
family. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there because I realized I came off a little brash there. So sorry. Go
So,
ahead.
Lucha Underground news here. King Cuerno was slated to sign with the WWE, and I think, in fact, the WWE wanted him in their NXT Global Cruiserweight tournament that's going to tape in the summer.
Okay.
Lucha Underground said no. He's under contract for 7 years, Duke.
Holy cow.
7 years.
That's ambitious for people
Now I
that are
wonder,
saying they
because
can't
they've
keep up with their
they've
finances.
pretty much wrapped up. Yeah, they pretty much wrapped up season 3 tapings already. So now season 3 tapings is happening in year number 2. Is that 2 years on his contract, or is that 3 years on his contract? Because the rate they're going, the 7-year contract could be over like next May if they're going to keep taping.
Maybe next
seasons,
week.
like, years ahead of time.
Maybe next week.
I know, right? And yeah, it's taped so far in ahead. It's
yeah, it's crazy.
sad. But yeah, so this talent, he's working, and I still don't fully understand the Lucha Underground AAA connection. Whether, because King Cuerno is working for AAA right now while Lucha Underground's not taping. So I don't understand how that works. And if someone's allowed to work WWE, if WWE lets them too, someone's allowed to work WWE on the Lucha Underground off season, as long as they're available for the next TV tapings. I that's probably never going to happen because it's WWE.
Right.
But I don't understand the
We want
relationship
your
with Lucha
soul.
Underground wrestlers in their contract when they're not taping Lucha Underground, because obviously they're working and mostly in AAA. So
But
I'll
I mean,
have to look that up. And
I guess when you think about it, though, you could pull off, because you have Prince Puma and Ricochet, the same guy, who's someone different in Ring of Honor New Japan versus who he is in
oh yeah,
AAA and Lucha
well, it all
Underground.
depends on
the
the company they're working for.
Well,
And
what
whether
I was
they're
going
on
to
TV in the States, and then DVD sales and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
I know TNA talent can work elsewhere when they're not taping TNA, like independent booking and stuff, but they can't be featured on pay-per-views.
Yeah,
and they can't,
I guess
what
what
I
I was
mean?
gonna say is you have these people that sort of swing into NXT for a little bit who are on other things. So it seems like unless AAA is just like no, or Lucha Underground, whomever is just like
yeah,
no,
I mean,
not gonna happen.
Most of it has to do with national TV broadcasts.
Yeah.
So the Santana Garretts and everybody who slot into NXT, they're not on any company that's nationally televised on TV.
Gotcha.
So they don't have any contracts. They're a event to an event worker, whatever promotion they're in, including NXT
Gotcha.
for tapings and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So it's different. Yep.
So speaking of TNA, did you have April 14th, 2016 in your office pool, Duke? You want to know? You want to know what the game was?
Yeah.
The
Let's
game
go.
was, when do the TNA is in trouble and the demise is imminent rumors start? And that is pretty much this week for 2016. The whole annual event of declaring that TNA will not make it to the end of the year has already started. They lost their office space in Nashville. They got evicted. They were behind on rent. They moved into their warehouse that holds the facility that that they run their shoptna.com merchandise out of.
Okay.
So they've had, they're already renting that space. So they moved their offices there. They're going to lease a production studio on demand instead of having it a facility in-house because they don't have space for it. And Pop TV has canceled their Tuesday night replay of Impact Wrestling, and they're going to move it to Saturday afternoons instead. Now, to me, that's not bad because I always disliked the whole we're going to replay tonight's episode tonight for those who are not available on Tuesday night.
Yeah, actually, that makes more sense to me. That's more
right.
That's more of an old school approach anyway, where you would see either a replay or a smaller version of wrestling on Saturday.
So the naysayers take this as Pop TV doesn't even want them on TV anymore because Destination America pretty much did that as well once upon a time.
Yeah, to me that makes good business sense personally. Yeah. So
right, I don't disagree with this move.
Yeah,
but according to TNA, they are mutually moving it to Saturday afternoons to test the market to see if a secondary TNA show would hold up. So take that for what it's worth, saving face, or if they're actually really going to do that. So
yeah, it could be.
So it all depends on which
could be legit. Yeah,
yeah.
But when you're getting evicted, it sounds different than.
Yeah, I mean, the whole. I mean, if you're reading the stories, it depends on who writes the story.
Right.
If they're a TNA person, not a TNA person. If somebody from TNA is commenting on it, it's everything from got evicted, was missing rent, we're moving out, we're downsizing, we're relocating. You know what I mean? Every term was thrown around for the save face or to degrade the company. But we have an epic main event on our hands pretty soon, Duke.
Okay.
A one-on-one match, so to speak.
All right.
Involving Justin Bieber and LeBron James. The Cleveland Cavaliers playoff game and a Justin Bieber concert are scheduled on the same night in the same arena.
Whoa.
So this is big. This is TMZ worthy big. We're going to find out who has more pull in life. LeBron James and the NBA or Justin Bieber and the Beliebers. So stay tuned for that one. Who's your money on, by the way? Which one are they going to move?
Oh, Bieber's gone. I mean,
think so?
Yeah.
Concert sales. There's a lot of money in those tickets, man. A lot of money in NBA tickets too, but it's the opening round.
I don't know. That is tough to call. That is tough to call.
I might even make a case that Justin Bieber's concert has to go on because it's been scheduled longer. And the NBA should have really planned around that arena not being available that day and kind of shuffled the lineup a little bit. Played a day earlier or whatever. Have that series go on a day later. But we'll see. I'll update us next week on that. Trivia question for you.
That is a heavyweight. That is a heavyweight match for sure. Though.
That's a huge match.
That is a main event.
Huge match, and kind of okay. I think it's okay. That's that. I have a trivia question for you.
All right, what you got? So wait, pop quiz.
Pop quiz.
All right, I'm not going to do the graphic, and I probably will. Every time I say I'm not going to, I end up doing it. So
is there a jingle?
Pop quiz. Do you want me to make a jingle?
It should be like something like 50s ish, something like.
All right.
If you have a question you want to ask Duke, have a pop quiz, something like that.
that was our jingle right there. That was it.
All right. So Tyler Breeze has been on the main roster for a couple months now.
Oh no,
Duke! If you had to guess, TV and house show win-loss record. I'll throw in that there's been 4 ties and no contests. Win-loss record for Tyler Breeze. Off the top of your head, what do you think it would be, or would you rather me give you the number of matches and then you devise a win-loss record?
No, I'm gonna guess because I feel like I saw it, but I don't remember if I don't know if I remember the exact number. Is it 0-42?
Oh no, he's won.
Oh, he has won.
He's won.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess he won his debut. I got nothing. What you got?
He has 15 wins.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
and 124 losses.
That's bad. That's really, really bad.
House shows, TV, anywhere there was been a wrestling match on a main roster card. 15 and 124. Tyler buried.
But WWE doesn't bury people at all, right?
Right.
They just do what's best for business.
Right.
God, you know, Hunter, you know that's coming back to bite him,
but
because he said stuff like that before. But
I have to say this: his NXT record's not much better.
Yeah, he kind of jobbed
like
a lot.
A 39 to 41 win percentage rate on NXT. So however many matches that it's far fewer matches than this, I believe, because it's just TV tapings and occasional house shows at the end.
Well,
of his,
and that was before they had really started touring. So
right, but but I don't know if it counts FCW or anything. But like he never really had a good win-loss record.
As Tyler Breeze, because FCW was Mike Dalton.
Dalton, yeah. All right. Let's move. I was going to segue into the Ascension and me being curious of what their record is going to be in the WWE main roster. I know they had a lot of brutal wins to start their career before JBL trashed them on the microphone each and every week, and then they haven't won since, basically. So let's talk tag teams, Duke. And if you watched Raw this week, you don't need Finn Balor to have Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows.
Yeah. We got our answer. Where are they going to show up?
Them with Finn Balor, although it doesn't mean that they're not going. And I'm naysaying it to begin with, and I'm going to naysay my argument.
Okay.
In the fact that I said that you don't really know that they're going to be involved with Finn Balor just because they were in the Bullet Club in Japan or whatever. You don't know they're going to be with AJ Styles just because they were in Bullet Club and stuff. And it doesn't look like they're going to be involved with either one because they attacked the Usos on Raw.
Yeah, that was really random.
But that doesn't mean that whatever short stint they have with the Usos doesn't lead to something with Styles or Balor as well later on. The Shield, when they initially came out and attacked CM Punk, they still attacked other people here and there. You know what I mean? So
and eventually ended up buddies with CM Punk.
Yeah.
So
hang
on. Wait. Before we get in,
I still didn't finish my initial thought here. My initial segue.
Well, hang on.
The whole tag team division.
But
what?
I just want to say something real quick. There is still a connection between the Usos and Roman Reigns, who happens to be the payback opponent of, or the payback opponent of AJ Styles. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not a reach.
No,
but it seems like a long shot, right?
It seems like a long shot, but it's not. But there's a connection. So anyway, go ahead. There's a connection on both ends. Well, see, that's what I don't. See, I don't know.
See, I don't want to talk. I stopped myself, and I don't want to talk heel and face anymore. I really don't, because it doesn't matter. Whatever they need, they're going to make somebody fill that role, and it's not going to be this role model-esque type of situation of good guy, bad guy anymore.
Well, Larry, they're not bad guys, and they're not good guys. They're just guys.
You missed SmackDown today. I know that, and they didn't say that, thankfully, because Roman Reigns was overseas.
Thank God.
No, you know what? They might have done but here's what you missed on Raw, and they might have put that in there, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
So, all right, here's the tag team division as it stands now. You have the 8 teams in the tag team tournament.
Okay.
Which does not include the League of Nations, which does not include the Wyatt family. You have the Clones, and they weren't who I was thinking of, but you have the Clones, and you have the New Day. So that's 12 teams right there. And then you add in Anderson and Gallows.
13.
That's 13 teams in your division right now.
Which for all the crap that people have said gets said behind the scenes of not taking tag team wrestling seriously, we have, you're talking about not just 13 randomly thrown together people, except maybe the League of Nations. And maybe R-Truth and Goldust, even though that was a long slope.
Nope.
Oh, did I miss something?
Nope. It's Goldango.
Well, what?
You missed SmackDown,
I
dude.
missed it. Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Goldango was the team that wrestled in the tournament,
That's
and not
fantastic.
Golden Truth.
Okay,
So
I
wonder.
can't wait to go back and see how that was explained. But anyway, I just say so that's a couple of thrown together things, but everybody else is an actual tag team. Like possibly
and
for the rest of their career, they will be in a tag team together. And so I'm just sorry. I know I interrupted, and it's just a quick side note, but even I have given them crap for not taking it seriously. But when you're paying guys as a team, essentially, you're taking it somewhat seriously.
here's my argument to yeah, they take tag teams seriously, except when they don't.
Right.
When's the last time WrestleMania had a tag team match for the championship title on the main show?
Yeah, I know. You're right.
It doesn't happen.
You're right.
And that's like the whole thing. It's like we have this division, we have a solid division, tag team wrestling's back, and then on their biggest shows, it's just like on the pre-show, the tag team champions will take on,
So yeah,
Cody and Goldust will take on the New Age Outlaws, and well, so much for Night of Champions being a Night of Champions.
Yeah, so I guess that's where people connect a lot of those dots. But anyway, go ahead.
Back in the day,
4
years ago, these tag team champions would disappear for weeks at a time.
Yeah, at least they're on TV.
And then all of a sudden, hey, it's Epico and Primo versus I don't know who they fought 800, the Usos. Then they disappear again, and hey, it's Epico and Primo versus the Usos again.
Yeah, well, and funny thing, most people probably don't realize this because of what you're talking about, but the Colognes as Epico and Primo, or maybe as the Matadors, I'm not sure, but
Epico and Primo, they had a lot of times.
Yeah, but they had the titles for 8 months. They had an 8-month run, but like you said,
and they
you barely saw them
like
on TV. Yeah, exactly. Once a month they were on TV.
So you didn't see SmackDown, and part of this might ruin it for you. So I'm going to try not to ruin it for you, but stay top.
No. Stay top. Just do what you need to do.
Okay. I want to, as somebody who hasn't watched SmackDown first, let me ask you, who do you think is going to win the tournament? Just throw a name out. No explanation. Just who do you think is going to win it?
I'd like for it to be Enzo and Cass, but I feel like you're about to spoil that for me.
No. Is that who you want? Who you feel like not want to win? Who do you feel like is going to win? Like,
well,
I know WWE booking, they're putting this team over, kind of thing.
I say that, and the more I think about it, it's probably going to be No, why would you do that though? I guess me asking
all those emotions you're feeling right now is what I'm going through when I'm trying to look and see which one of these teams is going to win.
Yeah, well,
I can't argue for any of them. I can only argue against all of them.
Yeah, well, it's like I was going to say WWE takes it away in the semifinal by having the Dudleys beat Enzo and Big Cass, and this is speaking as someone who didn't see SmackDown, so I could have missed something at this point, but you have the Dudleys.
You haven't sounded silly yet.
Okay, so you have the Dudleys beat Enzo and Big Cass, but then that means, and then the Dudleys go on and win it, but then you have the Dudleys versus New Day again that feud has barely disappeared, but it's WWE booking, so they figure you forgot it if it didn't happen, 30 minutes ago. So
out of the final four,
that's who I would say
not in the feud.
What's that?
I said out of the final four, there's only one team not in the feud. Like, which one of these teams does not belong? Because you have the Dudleys and Enzo and Big Cass, and they're going to wrestle each other, and they're feuding technically,
right?
According to promo time. You have the Usos, and all of a sudden they got attacked by Anderson and Gallows. So, chalk that up to being a feud.
Sure.
And then you have the Void Villains, who have nothing going. They're just a team that wrestled twice on SmackDown, and they're in the final four of a tournament for the tag team title shot. I want to go on a limb and call this Dudley's versus Enzo Big Cass match like a no contest. And then whoever wins the Void Villains versus Usos goes like right into the final, like goes right into the match because of they have a bye in the finals. Some like old school like way of fast tracking a tournament.
Old
But
shenanigan
yeah, I mean,
booking.
Usos have been there before, and they're gonna have the Anderson and Gallows thing. I always want to say Anderson and Gotch for some reason. I don't know why, but Anderson and Gallows. Void Villains really win this tournament and fight the New Day? And when is that? Is that match going to be a Payback, or is that match going to be like on Raw? Did they ever say?
I don't think it's been said yet, unless I missed it on SmackDown tonight. So I would assume it's going to happen on Payback. It would make sense for it to happen on Payback.
There's 2 WWE pay-per-views this month too.
Oh God, not again! Really?
Or May? Is it 2? Oh my God! Is it 3 pay-per-views in April?
Nuh-uh.
No way. Are they both in May? When is WWE Payback?
Payback is May
I'm
1st.
looking.
May 1st.
All right, Payback is May 1st. I think Extreme Rules is like May 22nd. Looking that up right now because
All
I know Payback got moved up.
Well, I'll talk while you're looking it up. So
It's right here. It's
well, I won't talk.
Maybe it's not here. It is here. It's May 22nd.
Wow, so 3 weeks apart.
Yeah, because Payback was supposed to be May 22nd because that's the Prudential Center, Newark, New Jersey event that I see commercials for. But now Payback was moved up, or they were flip flopped the name. So there's 2 May events, and who knows? I mean, it's really 3 weeks in between pay-per-views, so Payback feels like it's a throwaway pay-per-view, and then bigger plans are going to be towards Extreme Rules.
Maybe.
I mean, who knows? But,
I don't know. Maybe Payback should be like just all tag team. Just like and it's like or just like all like personal feuds, not a single title to be seen. So it's
the night of no champions.
Yeah, night of no champions, but it's fights you want to see. It's Owens versus Zayn. It's the Usos trying to get over on Gallows and
if you take the name literally,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sami Zayn's trying to get the payback on Owens, Usos on Gallows, and then,
all
and
that
then whatever
stuff
happens, Dudley's Enzo and Big Cass will get payback on each other because of whatever happens. And then,
let's be real. If you're gonna name something that, wouldn't it make sense to have like it just be a night of grudge matches? Doesn't that make a lot of sense?
It really does. It's like naming an event, Survivor Series and only having one Survivor Series match. That never happens.
Yeah.
So in the tag team division, Duke, who is the most legit? And by the way, I have a feeling the League of Nations is done. Like the probably they solidified their name in history as the faction that should have been more achieving, like should have achieved more than they were allowed to, because that was a pretty decent stable. That was pretty fun.
I think as soon as Barrett said he was leaving, that pretty much they were pretty much done.
I think as soon as they came out with t-shirts, they were done. And
fair enough.
That always scares me when I see people with new t-shirts, because it's like the unwritten rule in wrestling was if tag teams get new matching tights, then they're splitting up soon. So
except for the New Day.
This tag team division is a real, like, who is the tag team in this division? And not as a fan, but let's
go
try to be professional. Which is the team that dethrones New Day?
Well, with the New Day turning face, it just makes sense for the Dudleys to finally get their record-breaking moment or whatever, or their rounding out moment.
Record extending.
Yeah.
Because 10's more of a round number.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right. But just to, to me, it makes sense for the Dudleys to be that as far as the tournament is concerned. I would say the Dudleys.
I'm actually going to go with my own theory that the Vaudevillains are the only ones without like needing to watch their backs,
Fair
and
enough.
then they're getting like a push to the finals to say like, hey, these guys are legit, and then obviously the New Day will beat them. But I think that's kind of like vaulting their career to the forefront. Be like, hey, you like these guys? Look, they're tournament finals worthy. Kind of not push them down your throat, but just like establish
Just
precedent of them being
sure.
like a legitimate team.
Well, I
So
mean,
I think the same way Enzo and Big Cass are going to be legitimate in the fact that they're going to have this feud with the Dudleys because they're the Dudley Boys.
right.
They have prestige and a history. Usos seem to be back burner a tag team like all the time. We talked about the Colognes before, how it's just like when you need them, they're there. Same with the Usos. When you need them, they're there, and
What
then
is
when you
it?
don't need them, they're just like
What is it? The kiss of
on main
death.
event.
The kiss of death in the wrestling business is he's a hell of a hand.
He's
Yeah,
hell of a
yeah. Which is
yeah,
what they say about the Colognes, and that
yeah.
on that podcast I keep telling you about that I bet you haven't listened to yet.
I have to listen to it though.
But
I'm telling you,
that's one
if there's
thing.
anything you've asked me to listen to before, it's I want to listen to that one, and I will sometime.
But that's one of the things where you know they talk about that, and they say
Yeah.
people enjoy working with us, and we don't really make waves. So we enjoy the business, we enjoy working in the business because it's our life, and we're good in the ring, we protect people, so on and so forth. So it's kind of like they'll just put us in whatever position they need, heel face,
They get paid
whatever.
if they're on TV or not. Not to say that they want to not work,
Right.
but they're not in a bad place. They still have their
Well,
contract.
yeah, and that's the
They're still
thing, and
employed.
they still wrestle for their dad or for Eddie's
See, I
dad.
that, I
So
find that weird. They are WWE employed wrestlers and they're actually working in Puerto Rico.
yeah, well, it's just some sort of ever since Carlito, according to Eddie, ever since Carlito, they're it's just sort of a gentleman's agreement with Vince that they that anytime their dad, Eddie and Carlito's dad, anytime he has a big event like his anniversary shows or his Christmas shows or whatever, as long as he can have them then Vince can have them any other time. As long as he can
Okay.
have them on significant events. So, but it's not
On
like
their
in a contract
major.
or anything like
Right.
that. So,
That's cool. All right.
yeah.
I didn't know, there's always some exceptions here and there that
Yeah.
wrestlers are allowed to do. Like you get surprised when you hear a WWE employed wrestler is doing something else. It's like,
Well,
what?
it's one thing to like piss off the executives at TNA. It's another thing to piss off the wrestling guy in Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
Yeah.
especially when WWE likes to tour down there from time to time, even if it's house show stuff. People eat it up. You don't want to essentially get embargoed out of a territory. So I think that's
you
where
don't. And
it
it's
comes
a
from.
small price to pay. I mean, it's just Primo and Epico. Like, I'm not just, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not
no, I know what you mean.
belittling them, but for every Primo and Epico, there's 11 other tag teams we just listed off the top of our head.
Right.
So Golden Truth was denied their tournament match. Goldust told R-Truth he asked for another partner.
Wow.
I guess something happened with Dr. Phil that I missed on Monday. And I wonder if it was funny or not, if I should go back and watch it. But must have been in or out of commercials. I was all over the place.
No, it was. They had an interaction, and Dr. Phil just kind of walked up at the end and just sort of shook his head like, I got nothing to say to this. By the way,
Right.
hate him all you want. I loved
He was
Dr.
good.
Phil on Raw. I loved
he
him.
was great.
I thought he was relevant.
He was in stride.
Yeah, I thought he was good. I thought he was really good.
He was really good. Listen, a lot of people did not like celebrity general managers back when they did it. I ate it up.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I thought it was really good.
Listen, Hoda and Kathy Lee Gifford were terrible. The Today Show people, they were terrible. They were terrible people. But for every one of them, you had Bob Barker, or Shaquille O'Neal, or Shaquille O'Neal playing Scrabble with Santino Marella. That was just gold.
Yeah.
And then and rapping with Crime Time with Santino Marella and Shaq. That
Yeah.
was, it was good stuff. It was fun. It was lighthearted. The Muppets were tremendous.
Oh yeah,
And
Beaker and
when Beaker,
Sheamus.
when Sheamus and Beaker, and then then they gave somebody formula at the main event, and it made them sick. That's so stupid. It was funny though. A lot of people hate on that.
That's what wrestling's supposed to be fun. It doesn't have to be serious all the time.
And it's not like the celebrity G. Like a lot of people get hung up on, and this is my whole argument with Shane McMahon. And again, he was allowed to run Raw, but we know better. We know the show's going on, no matter who the general manager is.
What was the point of the WrestleMania match? Anyway, that's a different topic.
Exactly, but. Yeah, see anything like what's the report? What's the point of retirement match if the guy's coming back like next month?
Yeah,
but a lot of people see like celebrity GM and then like for some reason get caught up in how come they're allowed to run? You know what I mean? It's like this show would have been much better if they weren't running it. No, the show would have been exactly the same.
Oh yeah, guys,
they did nothing.
Yeah, like guys, like guys who make comments to the effect of, you shouldn't be commentating on a championship match if you've never held a championship.
Yeah.
It's a work, by the way.
So the whole like Shane McMahon's running the show. Well, he's not really running the show. He did a little bit more this week, which was good.
Yeah, I liked it.
I like the fact that he was, I like the fact that I love the pairings, the whole like strange bedfellow pairings that they do with they did with Reigns and Bray Wyatt being on the team and Shane McMahon spearheading that. Like, tag match players kind of thing. We need a Teddy Long there.
Yeah.
But
oh man, I like that was something that I was actually going to put on social media. I'm just like, man, the only thing, like if Shane would have said, wait, players, I think people would have just, because he started talking before he came out, and so I'm like, man,
it's the flow chart.
If he would have just come out and said players, I think the crowd would have just like wet themselves like and passed out from laughing so hard.
You ever see the Teddy Long flow chart?
Yes, I have. I have.
Right. So for everyone else, you come out to the ring. Is there one guy in the ring? Yes. Is the Undertaker on hiatus? Yes. Then that person's going on one-on-one with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Are there 4 people in the ring? Yes. Tag match, player.
Yeah.
So I love that. But all right.
If he would have just said players at some point, whether it be at the beginning or as he was leaving, that's it. Players.
Or he just said to drop a holla holla.
Yeah, it's just something like I felt like.
I wonder what the terms are with Teddy Long and the WWE. I wonder if it ended bad, if it ended well.
I feel like WWE said. I feel like I feel like WWE actually like tagged him when they said something on their Twitter during the show. So
I have a feeling that production wise, I think they just moved away from the GMs, and that's why Teddy Long and Vicky were kind of like not fired, but just kind of like they retired. They were able to just like leave on their own.
Well, according to
held high instead of
according to Vicky's account of it, because she was on Talk Is Jericho. By the way, Talk Is Jericho, seriously, hands down best wrestling
when it has
podcast.
Wrestlers on, I really enjoy it. When he does rock and roll shows, even if I like the
he lives in that world, so
yeah.
And I've actually heard of people who are like, well, I hate listening to the wrestling stuff, but I love the rock and roll stuff because he gets because it's the same thing. He gets legit guests. He gets people who are in the thick of it. Like he got the Freebirds right before their Hall of Fame, and then you heard a lot of the same stuff, but you heard it in a more personal setting, and then they were able to say some stuff that they weren't able to say on the Hall of Fame stage, which was cool. And then he had Charlotte right before her match, and that was really, really good. Like if you ever wanted to
and
hear,
also listen to our podcast too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not just trying, but I'm just saying it's a great, like, if you want one really good one-on-one, as close to shoot interviews as you're going to hear from people who are currently in the business, I think that's the podcast to go to personally. So unless it's Big Show on Steve Austin, because Big Show apparently has no filter. But anyway. So what were we talking about? I
I
have
don't even
derailed
remember
us
anymore, but we can move on.
dramatically. Oh,
So they were,
you were talking about the strange bedfellows, and then we got off on the Teddy Long tangent. So anyway, moving on. We talked about how Shane had done, how we liked how Shane was more involved. He wasn't just
yeah. I
some
mean, I don't
random
know where they're gonna
backstage
like
face.
you said. It's the whole. Well, what was the point of the match anyway? Well, you know what? The fans got what they wanted. Undertaker saved his face, saved the face of his legacy and all that. Um, but it's just the wrestling world. It's the whole like retirement match, but the guy retired 3 times already and he's coming back again, kind of deal. It's like sometimes that match. I just when I described it, not to talk about a match for 2 weeks ago, so I'm just going to spend like 1 minute on it. But
Okay.
at the time, I said it was kind of like a match where somebody's going to retire and you don't want them to retire, but you still want the other guy to win because you don't want him to lose. Like it just seemed like it was kind of set up like that. And in the end, guess what? Both sides got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Shane's running the show so far, and Undertaker saved his face. But at WrestleMania, plans change, and something I hinted to
Speaking
you before we
of,
started
yeah.
taping. Yeah, they there were 2 things planned for WrestleMania that changed the day of,
Well,
or very close to the day of.
and I don't know if you're going to say one that I know, so let's see what you say.
Well, we're going to start with that one. I think I mentioned the other day was Kevin Owens was supposed to win the ladder
Oh
match,
yeah, that's the one I knew. Yep.
and then the day of, they're like, okay, Zack Ryder is going to win it. And I
Yeah.
don't know what sparked them to change it, except for the fact that, like we talked about, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn seems to have a lot of merit on its own.
Yeah.
So, like, you
It
really
doesn't
didn't
need a
need the
title.
title, where the
Right.
title is better on The Miz, even though he got it through Zack Ryder, and they gave Zack Ryder his moment and gave the fans what they wanted at the same time. The whole is WrestleMania supposed to be a happy ending, happy story. I think you get a lot of matches that don't traditionally go the way that the rest of the year is being booked for in WrestleMania, because it's kind of like you kind of expect that WrestleMania moment, and Zack Ryder got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
uh,
and
yeah,
and it's quickly becoming, before you get on the next one, just real quick, just side note, and something we could do an entire show on, and maybe we kind of have, but most pay-per-views, and WrestleMania was like really the biggest offender this in the this past fiscal year of wrestling. Most wrestling shows are the uncanny X-Men of booking, because you take them out of what's happening on the rest of the year, changes nothing about what's happening the rest of the year, because most of the times in most cases titles don't change, feuds continue, new feuds don't start. So it's like and I know that's where a lot of hate comes from, is that in the grand scheme of things, with angles and everything like that, nothing really happens. I mean,
time invalidation is my time being invalidated is the biggest argument I have for when I get salty at angles and what they do with booking.
right.
If I'm investing 5 weeks before a pay per view on a big buildup of a feud to have a match at the pay per view, and then a rematch on Raw that goes the other way. It's like, well, what the hell? Like, I'm not even going to argue money at this point, because $10 is peanuts for what I get every month.
Sure.
So it's not even about money anymore. It's about, why did I just waste 3 hours a week, 5 hours a week for 5 weeks on the setup of this story to have a 20-minute match that ended one way conclusively, to then have a rematch the next day on quote unquote free TV and have it go the other way. It's like, well, where was the whole what happened to the whole, here's a feud, this guy wins the feud. He
Right.
got over on the other guy.
Right.
And we don't get that anymore. And that's where my argument lasts. And the fact that you have major pay-per-views a year, or what I deem major pay-per-views a year. I guess other people don't. Your SummerSlams, your WrestleManias, your Royal Rumbles, your Survivor Series, let's say, because those are like the 4 originals.
Yep.
And you have a feud that goes 3 months with the concluding match at that 3rd month pay-per-view. It should be like next day on Raw, it kind of starts over. And it doesn't. It continues again.
Right.
Or it continues still. And that's where
Or
I
they, or
have a
they
hard
trade
time.
they trade the win the other way. for no
Yeah, they
for no
don't do
reason
it like
whatsoever.
yeah, they don't do like a TV serial where it's like you have a couple episode arc and then you like, you start a new arc. It's like just a continuation all the time, and that's where you're getting the same matches over and over and over again.
And,
So
and this
so that's where I have the problem.
and this I believe connects to the other thing that was supposed to happen at WrestleMania that you were going to talk about.
The Diva of the Month Club.
Okay, so what?
So I've coined this phrase lately, and I don't know if it's taken off yet because I don't know if I've ever told anybody about it. You have the Diva of the Month Club. You have one women's title. You have one women's champion. You have one pay-per-view a month. So somehow there's going to be a feud between Charlotte or whatever current champion and somebody else. And that girl I'm going to deem the Diva of the Month because after Charlotte retains or that girl wins, then another diva is going to be involved next month. So so this month, the Diva of the Month is obviously Natalya.
Okay.
She has the match with Charlotte. Charlotte beats Natalya, then who's the Diva of the Month? You know what I mean? It's like
Sure.
while Roman Reigns in the same month might still have the same opponent, like it's no different for the men than the women. The men's side has more roster spots and matches and other titles.
Yeah.
So to have one person invested with Roman Reigns, well, you can have other people invested with Kalisto and other people invested with the Miz.
Right.
For the women, it's just Charlotte.
And with the tag team, by the way. So with the tag team titles as well for the
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. I
for the guys.
mean, well, the tag team division. I mean, I guess you can have tag team flavor of the month as well, but they also do a good job of having other tag team matches mixed here and there as well.
Right.
And it's harder to do with the divas, except if it's Raw and it's 3 hours.
Oh yeah, and you were mainly talking about individuals. So, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the plans initially were for Sasha Banks to win that match.
Man.
But they're actually, I don't know if it was infected by the new title coming out and having Charlotte hold it because she's a Flair and Flairs have prestige in the wrestling world. And, when other people, non-wrestling people hear that it's Flair's daughter is the first women's champion or however they want to christen that title, more people will be like attuned to it than if they say Sasha Banks was the first winner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's name recognition to the moment, to the honor of being a first. But it's probably going to line up Sasha Charlotte for SummerSlam. And that leaves Bayley.
Which is not bad. Which is not a bad
Which is
thing.
not bad. No, not bad at all.
No, going into summer with that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. And listen, Charlotte has been good in her role as a heel. And her dad is kind of growing on me now and being like, I didn't like him originally because it was all like, that's Ric Flair's daughter.
That was when she was a face.
Like,
when she was a face, it was
like
dumb. So
now he's teaching her the ways. You know what I mean? Like she's now acting like him, and he's like helping her escape situations. So it's a good, heel thing that they have going, and probably one of the better heel things that they have.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
So, and in fact, when we were making light of the situation, we said Ric Flair is the biggest heel in the Divas division. And now it's like, well, now, Charlotte's pretty good herself now. So.
Charlotte, yeah, she's taken the reins really well. And I do want to touch on something real quick since you were talking about that. They're already planting the seeds of Charlotte getting tired of Rick interfering in matches. And they've done it a couple of times, but they did it kind of significantly. That doesn't even make sense. But they did it in a more significant way than probably a lot of people noticed at WrestleMania when she turned and she looked back. She didn't like grin and say. Now she did it on Raw, right? That was part of the written promo was to say she couldn't have done it without her dad, which was completely true, right? But it was interesting the look that she shot toward him, like, really? Like I had this. You didn't think I could handle myself? She sort of, and so they're already, which is a cool, and that could just be Charlotte that's saying, eventually this is where we're going. I need to do something for my character so that if someone's smart enough, they can start stringing together these things in the future. But
I feel like her character
anyway.
has been a lot of I don't need my dad except when I need daddy, kind of thing. Like
Sure.
I can do this, dad. And
Right.
then all of a sudden like, daddy, I need you kind of deal.
Right.
And I think a lot of her character is like, like when you have that child actor superstar and like he's wearing the pants in the family and the parents like strutting behind him.
Right.
Like he's calling the shots. I think
Right.
that's kind of like what they're trying to portray too. Like Charlotte's calling the shots.
Right.
Rick's an old man.
Right.
He's not a like I'm not saying that she's treating him as a has-been. He's still daddy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like she's the one.
She's the pilot. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like still relevant because of her right now, and not like she's the champion because of him.
Yeah, which is
whenever
great.
they have looks and stuff like that, and whenever Rick starts to talk for Charlotte, like when Becky challenged her, and Rick's like, "You think she's gonna back down?" and he accepted the challenge on her behalf. I think that's kind of like the whole thing that they're portraying, like, they're a cohesive unit, yes, but at the same time, it's like
they're gradually stepping on each other's toes, and Charlotte is gradually resenting him for it. So
there's a power struggle. Like,
it's
look,
really
at me, Dad,
good.
no hands,
really
and
good.
I fall, and you hold your knee, and you yell for daddy, kind of thing. I think they're kind of doing that pretty well.
Yeah.
So those are the
think
two
it's one of
matches
the better angles that they're like committing. Like where I know you've told me they don't really commit to things long term because that's suicide in wrestling. This is one thing where they are just organically doing that, and it could just be between the two of them.
It's a wrestling trope too.
Yeah.
Like if I use that word correctly,
you did.
It is. It's an actual trope. It's like you have family members and you're gonna have them feud.
Yeah,
you're gonna split them up.
Yeah,
so something's gonna happen. Rick's gonna cost her the title, or gonna cost her a match, and they're gonna have a argument. She might even fire him, and you might not see him again, kind of deal.
Or she's just she's gonna become more altruistic at some point.
Or he's gonna manage Sasha at SummerSlam, and
that was something. So I heard someone say at one point, and I'm like, wow, that is a scary, messed up angle, though. And it was when he picks a younger wrestler over her, and it like hits too close to home. Is the idea? I'm like, ooh, that's like old school.
It's kind of like they retconned him kissing Becky Lynch already.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but it's kind of cool in a way to say, like, if as a fan you're like, oh God, no way, I don't never want them to do that. Like, I never want them to have like Sasha's so good, she's on her own. Never want Flair. If you're Sasha Banks and someone says, hey, Ric Flair's going to manage you.
Yeah, right.
Are you saying no?
Well, it's
kind of
like
the best day ever.
It's kind of like the Eric Rowan thing. It's just like, that sucked.
Against The Rock.
Yeah. It sucked. But guess what? Your name is next to The Rock's.
Oh God, they buried Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan actually had a spot on WrestleMania wrestling The Rock.
The Rock. Yeah. Sure, it was.
You want to tell me they buried Eric Rowan? Maybe he does nothing for his career, but you don't think Eric Rowan's in the back, like jumping up and down?
Well, it's just like I was listening. I was listening to Austin talking about that today, and he talked about seeing him in the hallway, and just saying, hey, kind of pep talking him, and I'm like, what if he didn't really need it? Like, just seriously, what if he did? But Austin, to his credit, was recognizing the bad booking of it. Personally with Eric Rowan, which was, I mean, that's cool. That's a cool moment. I like. It kind of goes back to the same thing, though. It's just like you were in the ring, and technically in a match with The Rock. You just had a pep talk, a personal pep talk with Steve Austin. I mean, is this bad for you?
Hold on.
Sorry, go ahead.
Stop right here for a second. I have to figure this out.
Yeah, go.
I kind of somewhere. So Austin was pep talking Eric Rowan because Austin thought that Eric Rowan was getting screwed by the booking?
Yes.
So according to Austin, Eric Rowan was put in a bad spot because he had a job in a record-setting way to The Rock at WrestleMania. Like, if you're Eric Rowan, you just got the best of two worlds right there. You got a pep talk from Austin.
That's what I'm saying.
You got beat by The Rock in the record book, and now you're getting kind of like son, they did you wrong, son.
Yeah,
No,
it's
they
still
didn't.
it's still the like, and maybe we're just rose-colored glasses. We're seeing this through rose-colored glasses, but I mean, come on, two of the biggest names in wrestling ever, and you were in a match with one of them. Yes, it was a stupid 6-second quote-unquote record-breaking match.
Doesn't matter how long it was. It
Yeah,
was The Rock at WrestleMania.
yeah, it was The Rock at WrestleMania, and then because the internet said that was so terrible and The Rock was so self-aggrandizing or whatever people said, because the internet said that, it swayed possibly the biggest draw in wrestling ever to have a pep talk with you backstage. I mean,
I'm surprised that
I'm going to bed. I'm
Yeah.
going to bed happy that night. I don't care. I'm not pissed.
breaking out my Mattel figures and I'm having an Austin versus Rock match in my freaking ring.
Yeah, where
But-
Austin stops to give Rock a pep talk, right?
I don't know, Mattel, Jack Specific, LJN. I don't even know who made them at the time. But yeah, they have a backstage segment. You're dressing up like, I don't know, did they ever make an Eli or Eli Blue or the Viking
Yeah.
wrestling figure?
Yeah,
Eric
there you
Rowan
go.
would shave his head and be like, oh, that's me now. But I'm surprised Austin, the wrestler, being a wrestling guy, didn't really. Oh, maybe he wasn't saying that. Was he apologizing for the fans, or was he apologizing for bad booking? That's what I'm not getting.
No,
Austin's
no,
a wrestling guy.
if you listen to that podcast, he was like on board with it being bad booking and it being, if you were going to do that, then have a legit match so that the guy gets to show some of his stuff and not just take a swing and take a rock bottom and all completely, like, everything they said was completely valid, but it's still like, to me,
it's not Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah,
it's not for the title.
It's not for a title, and it's not.
Rock is not doing a 30-second match. He's doing a 8-second match, a 6-second match.
Yeah. There's so many things that it's not. Like, it's not someone that's going to be there at Raw. It's not someone that's going to be there every time the Wyatts walk out. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
And when Eric
like,
Rowan comes out, it's not going to be like, hey, that's the guy who lost to The Rock in 6 seconds.
Yeah,
it's going to be, here's the Wyatt family.
Yeah, if you're thinking that, I don't know what you're thinking. Like, I can't see, like, like Austin's thing was, sort of a dust yourself off, just keep putting in the work, blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, hold up.
How much work do you have to do to get another match with The Rock at WrestleMania?
Yeah, I know.
Like, I just hit the highlight of my career. I mean,
yeah, and again,
it went on later
maybe
in the
we're
night
looking
than any CM Punk match at WrestleMania. So
yeah, maybe we're looking at this through rose-colored glasses, but I just know if it was
that's
me,
the argument.
I would happily take that spot. Like, as a fan, as a guy in the business, I feel like I would just happily, like, I feel like Zack Ryder would have happily taken that spot just to have that moment.
It goes back to the argument of, is somebody getting buried, or are they doing what the company's asking them to do? Is it like a CM Punk kind of, they're disrespecting him kind of deal? Or is it like, I'm glad to have a job, I'm glad to be in the WWE. Tyler Breeze has 14 wins on his resume, or whatever it is, 15 wins on his resume.
Right.
Like, is he less happy because he only has 15 wins, or is he happy because he's in the type,
the big company,
the main roster?
Yeah, he's on the main roster,
company,
in the company to be in.
Because I know
wrestling.
some guys who get miserable if they're not in matches, and rightfully so. It's your profession, it's your career. You want to be entertaining. You don't want to be taking a back seat and never be seen in the ring. So I can understand that. But if you're a guy who's going to just argue because you're losing all the time, it's kind of like, well, do you want to win all the time in Combat Zone Wrestling in Philadelphia and New Jersey? Or do you want to lose all the time and be on Raw and SmackDown and make, 10 times more money, maybe even more? But, that's the argument. Yeah. I guess some guys feel that they get disrespected, booked in this certain way. And other guys are just like, hey, it's not just a paycheck and I'm not just sitting back, but anything they want me to do, I'm happy to do it. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I mean, there were guys. One of the
situations, Eric Rowan wrestling The Rock is not either of those situations. I think it's like greatest night ever situation.
Yeah. Well, and back in the day when, in the days of wrestling that everyone wants to go back to, there were literally guys, and I'm not talking about the Job Squad, but there were literally guys who all they did was lose. That was literally their job.
Iron Mike Sharp, Barry Horowitz.
I mean, that's where
Brooklyn
the term
Brawler.
jobber comes from. Is that's what they just lost. That's what they did. That was professionally what they did. Was they went out and their job was to either be someone who got squashed or be someone who could go for a while and still make the other guy look like $1 million and still lose.
Main roster
and
doesn't
lose
have that.
and lose and lose and lose and lose. But everyone pisses on 50-50 booking, but then they expect it. That's what like it's just this whole dichotomy of the internet, just internet fans of anything. You want this, but when you're getting this, what's that? What'd you say?
It's a blind contradiction, is what it is, and
Yeah.
I'm guilty of this too.
Yeah,
I
we
wanna see
all are in
diversity.
some
I want to see
things.
things. I want to see things unexpected, and then when things unexpected happen, it's kind of like, well, that was dumb. That makes no sense. Well, what do you want? Do you want things that make sense and logical and flowchart, or do you want surprises and on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's going to happen? It's you get one thing, you wish for the other. You get the other thing, you say this is stupid.
Yeah, it's internet culture of never be happy with anything, and I'm just so over it. And probably half of that comes from being a community manager and having to deal with it in the past, where
probably
no matter what you do, like no matter how many bones you throw out, there's still someone complaining, or you get the, well, yeah, but you should have done this a year ago. It's just
thanks for the free in-game
crap.
gift, but I wasn't able to log in, so you guys suck.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
sorry, we announced it a month in advance and made a calendar for it, but
Yeah.
sorry to hear that. But all right,
Yeah.
so let's move on from all this. We did the tag team stuff. Who's going to be on the horizon next for New Day? It's inconclusive.
Yeah.
We talked about
it's hard.
WrestleMania. We talked about the Bullet Club arriving and stuff like that. So I'm going to switch to NXT for a second here and just ask you this one general question: who's next for Finn Balor?
Nakamura.
Are they gonna? You think Nakamura right away?
I mean, well, here's what I do think after watching this week. I'm like, well, Nakamura is the new guy. Not Nakamura
Oh, God,
is.
he's so good.
I mean, and he loves like. This is the difference between Nakamura and most other foreign talent that you see come in. Nakamura is laying back in the fans like he's been there his whole life. Like he's on board, and you see pictures that Bálor posts to social media and stuff like that, and he's part of the culture, like instantly. He's part of the
First
culture.
day on NXT, no big deal. I have the fans eating out of my hands already.
Yeah, and he's just like he's totally, and I think that comes that's where like that's that it factor that he's always had that
That's
people
his
who have
charisma,
been, that people have seen is just like anywhere he goes, it's not a matter of he's the most popular guy in the room, even though that's probably true. It's anywhere he goes, he's comfortable. And he will integrate himself into whatever is going on, and that's I think from what I'm seeing of him and what I've seen of him from New Japan, that's why he's so loved, is that I'll play whatever role you want me to. I'm just happy to be doing this, and he's just, but he's not like the whole Eric Rowan thing. It's not just he's just happy to be here. It's he's happy to be here, but he's so ridiculously talented and so constantly innovating and so creative that he can't help but be the tippity top guy anywhere he goes. And that I feel like that's the next step for NXT, is having a guy like that. I mean, Bálor is that guy.
You wouldn't want to throw somebody to Bálor now and give you a couple months of Nakamura highlight matches first, and then clash them together, kind of like what they did with Asuka and Bayley. When Asuka was here, they didn't go right for that.
Sure.
They went to Asuka and a lot of other people first, and then brought them together. Or because there's not many people.
I just don't know who you throw at him, because it's like everything else in NXT outside of Samoa Joe is either main roster bound, like they're doing the crossover. They're in the midst of their crossover right now, or they're a tag team, or both. So
I mean, you have
I
a
don't know
couple. You have a couple people.
who is it. There's Ty Dillinger, who that
Yeah,
Ty
that's not
Dillinger.
happening.
No, it's not happening. But holy crap, Ty Dillinger was amazing this
Ty
week.
Dillinger's good.
I love Ty Dillinger.
I like him too. I really like him too. I like this character he had.
Yeah.
I didn't like him before, but I like the
Yeah.
Perfect 10 stuff. I liked when he took the 3 and
Yeah.
put it in Alex whatever's jacket.
It was amazing.
When he just pops into the camera with the sign and just
just puts the 3 in.
You have a couple guys. You have Austin Aries. But again,
okay.
like Nakamura, don't you want to see Austin Aries beat a few people before going in? And here's ultimately what I'm getting at. And I knock Lucha Underground for the way they book, because it's not a wrestling company, it's a TV show, so they're not really, it's different.
Yeah.
NXT is different too. It's developmental through and through. And you don't really get a lot of rematches. You don't get a lot of long feuds, longevity. People are there and they either make it or they don't. Or they're just good enough to remain like core NXT talent to just enhance the roster. So you're either going main event, you're getting future endeavored, or you're just kind of like going to be an NXT lifer kind of deal. And I guess that works that way in any profession, but it's fast tracked because of the rate they pump people in and the rate they pump people out. You either have to have it or not. And that doesn't lead to a lot of situations where you have repeat champions.
Yeah, you really have to hit
rematches.
the ground running.
Yep. Right. So like a lot of the tag teams that lost their way, except for Blake and Murphy, have all moved on to the WWE.
Yeah.
Without getting a rematch or without being involved in a feud again with the titles.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. They might have gotten a rematch match, but I mean like at like the next takeover event or whatever it is. Vaudevillains and Blake and Murphy went on for a little bit. I know Dash and Dawson. I always do Dawson Dashin. The Revival beat the Vaudevillains in the Dusty Rhodes tournament non-TV match, and then had the match with them. So it happens, but it's not like they don't go back to it 2 or 3 months later. There's like always someone new, always someone different on the top, they're always moving on, moving forward. So if they went to Finn Nakamura now, what do they do after? And that's the problem I have with it.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I agree with you that you definitely don't do it now, and you don't even like you put them in the ring as a tag team to overcome something more than you put them against each other, and it's not even the Asuka Bailey thing where he's laying claim on the title after they do that or anything like that. But it's
who do you even have for Bálor except for Samoa Joe?
That's what I was gonna say. It's just like I don't know who's left unless this Apollo Crews thing is like you said, but it seems to me like this. It
seems to me like he's legit. I think he even taped the main event this week or Superstars, one of the two.
Yeah, he's actually transitioning, and they're just doing it. It seems to me that they decided to do things a little different this time because
everyone's overlapped.
Yeah, everyone's overlapped. Everyone. Single one. I mean, Corbin was on this week.
Although they did tape it at the WrestleMania weekend, so everyone was there and available.
Yeah, that was access.
So we'll see what happens at the next TV taping.
Yeah,
but all access.
But it's still interesting that they crossed it over so much. And
even with NXT Brooklyn, they still had that 4-way match with Charlotte and Becky Lynch. I mean, they were gone from the company as well. So
that was their send off though, and then there was the botched ending. So
yeah,
they were supposed to win that and go out on a win, and
it was a 4-way. It wasn't a tag team.
Oh yeah, well Charlotte I guess was supposed to win it. So yeah. Anyway,
so I mean, you have Austin Aries, and we didn't mention this last week, but I do want to mention it now. Bobby Roode was in attendance.
Yeah,
and they made a pretty good point of putting a graphic to his name, a name to a graphic, when they showed him on camera. So he's coming in soon, and that's going to be great. Him and Austin Aries were good together. Not that you need them as a tag team; you need them both as individuals right now. You have Finn Balor, you have Samoa Joe, and then you have all the crossovers. We've got to be forgetting somebody. I mean, the Drifter, but screw him. And
yeah. For now, well, I mean, he's. And see, that's what's weird is a lot of these guys seem like develop seem to be characters developed, or wrestlers, whatever, developed for when Bálor leaves. Like not for anything to happen now. That like these seem like perfect matches for Nakamura. Like the Drifter. Because he's so counter to.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's just
yeah.
like
A little bit
he's
of the
so
problem is
so different. So
you still have to protect the guys who are in, so you can't. That's why I say you can't go to Nakamura, Finn Balor, because
right,
somebody loses. You
right.
can't go to Austin Aries because somebody loses. Like these are all guys you're bringing in, and normally they get a bit of a streak going first before they get they challenge for the title, if they challenge for the title at all. So it's very odd to me that the whole, like, I'm looking at NXT as a whole, and I just can't see anybody
Yeah,
on that roster
who's
right
the
now.
next? Who's the next challenger? Right.
And they kind of set, like, what about Nakamura? What about Nakamura? Is great. Anytime he wants to go, I can go. And I just can't see that happening right away.
So I feel
So
like you're pointing to maybe Balor does go up because where
no,
where,
no,
where
no.
well let me throw this out there. Where you said what does he do on the main roster? Now we're saying, well, what does he do in NXT right now?
Well, that's true. I think we might have a month, or it might have a takeover where, like you said, it's Balor and Nakamura versus two guys instead of like Balor in a
Sure.
singles match. You just lump them in a match together and you make something else the more well, that would be the main event, let's say, but or maybe make Asuka Bailey the main event,
Yeah, I would imagine that's
because
what
it
you
might
do.
be
Yep.
right. So you have a Nakamura versus Nakamura and Finn Balor versus, whatever, Bobby Roode and Austin Aries, because when you lose in a tag team, you're not really losing face, or however that goes. As long as you roll them up, and you're fine. Doesn't mean anything.
As long as the finisher isn't used.
As long as the finishes are all invalidated and you win by a roll up, then
Yeah,
you're good.
yeah.
You protect everyone. Everyone
Kick
looks
out
good.
of every finisher, but don't kick out of a roll up.
Yeah. So it's like, oh man, what was that? It was ECW's first pay-per-view, Barely Legal 1997. It was Pitbull #2 versus Shane Douglas. And Shane Douglas threw him through a table, hit him with a piece of the table, punched him with a chain. He kicked out of everything, and then he did a belly-to-belly suplex and won. So,
Wow.
it's just like, oh,
that must have been a
like,
Bailey to belly.
What the hell happened? Or the hugplex, I used to like when Alex Riley called it.
Yeah.
The hugplex. But yeah, so that's something I'm looking forward to. I want to see what NXT does, and I like when they do TV tapings at Full Sail, and they don't do their TV tapings piggybacked off of wherever they are, because like you already know it's 2 weeks ago, even though like like TV tapings are 2 weeks ago. Also, it just gives you that feel. It's like, man, this is taped, and I don't like it. But,
yeah, I think
nothing's gonna. I'm sorry, nothing's gonna happen at WrestleMania Access.
Yeah.
But if it's taped at Full Sail, then there's a chance I avoided a spoiler.
Well,
like with tag team title changes and stuff.
If they do a Brooklyn show, which I really hope they do,
I'm going to look that up right now as you filibuster.
Sure. If they do a Brooklyn show, I hope, or this would be an interesting direction to take, which obviously it's not their model, but it would be interesting if you did a show like that and then you just did a live show. Like maybe stay in town for the weekend. And then
that's a lot of cost. You know what I mean?
I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's not their business model.
There's nothing after
stretch.
June 25th. June 25th live at Full Sail University is their next event. It's called NXT Takeover Revenge.
NWO Takeover Revenge. Holy crap!
Well, no, because of the stupid Nintendo 64 game that's like my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
WCW NWO Revenge.
So good.
So I saw Revenge and I immediately put NWO in it. But NXT Takeover Revenge. So is that going to be Finn versus Joe 3?
See, and
what's Revenge? And Bailey versus Asuka.
If it is, then Joe wins. So. Well, you know what we could see? We could see a title change between
John Cena beat Rusev 3 times in a row.
Yes, true. Well, what we could see though is that is someone takes the title off of him between now and then, and it's his
And Finn's getting his revenge.
Yeah, but that
See,
doesn't.
that's the predicament they're in. Do they want to give away, for as few shows as they do, do they want to give away the main title at a TV taping, or do they want to hold it all for the main event? Because they do tag team.
Well,
title
especially
changes
since people spoil everything. Yeah, you
Right.
don't want that to be spoiled. So
Right.
yeah, that you're right. That's not.
It's like having
that's not
a
wise.
title change on main event. And
Yeah.
Kofi Kingston wins it. It's taped on Tuesday. It airs on Wednesday, and Kofi Kingston's tweeting with the title.
Right.
And now everyone knows that the title changed hands, and I think that's why main event had a little bit of steam. We'll talk about that another day.
Okay.
I have a little rant on that. But NXT TakeOver Revenge. Your revenge could be Bayley versus Asuka, although why would they really want revenge? They don't really hate each other.
Well,
Joe and Finn Balor hate each other, but what's really the revenge? Something's going to happen between now and revenge to make it revenge.
Yeah, because there's always like they don't just name stuff. Like it's not Payback. this recurring name that doesn't really mean
some
anything.
Corny names.
Yeah.
Arrival for their first event. Takeover was their second event. Fatal 4-Way was because they had a Fatal 4-Way. Our Evolution. I don't know what the hell that meant when they said that.
Revolution.
There was Rival, which was, I know it was Revolution, but it was spelled R-Evolution.
Yeah.
R, like our, I guess. Evolution, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what
Sami Zayn Owens was Rival. Sami Zayn Owens 2 was Unstoppable. Then it was Brooklyn, Respect, London, Dallas, now Revenge.
Yeah.
So something's going to happen. Like Asuka is going to put Bayley's hand in a blender or juicer or something.
Let's hope not.
Or what?
Let's hope that doesn't actually happen.
Or like American Alpha are going to take, I don't know, Enzo and Big Cass and stuff them in a meat locker and lock it.
I think maybe the story that makes the most sense is that you have Asuka go a little more heel, which there's the question, is anyone really a heel in NXT? Because as people become
can we just broaden that? Is anyone even a heel in wrestling?
Yeah, but still,
Kevin Owens and Charlotte, and that's it.
Yeah,
Baron Corbin.
But see, Kevin Owens speaks to exactly what I'm saying. As you see people move further and further up the card, get deeper and deeper in their character, people just want to see them even more, even if they're doing everything to make people hate them, like Kevin Owens. You know.
By the way, if you're gonna watch SmackDown, watch the start of the Kevin Owens interview with Renee Young.
I'm gonna watch the whole thing.
It's classic Kev.
Oh, good.
All right, so things are gonna happen and stuff's gonna be done and revenge is gonna be had. One last thing here. Okay. And this led off my news and notes, but then I kept it to the end, and then I never mentioned it again.
Oh no!
Which I'm going to lose sleep at night because of it.
Yeah, I know.
Are you ready, Duke?
I can't believe.
Are you ready?
I can't believe you left this off.
The WWE universe is about to be transformed into the WWE galaxy.
Yep, because we now
the best wrestler in the galaxy is on her way to the Performance Center.
Yes,
Nikki Storm.
Nikki Storm from Glasgow.
Glasgow. I hope they do that with.
I know, man. I said if they don't do this,
comedy. They don't do comedy though. Like, NXT doesn't do comedy. They did it with Bayley, and then they made her serious. And then, like, who else really does comedy that way? I mean, Enzo and Big Cass do their thing on the mic.
I will
nobody
say
nobody does like Santino Marella corny. In the ring, really.
Yeah, but I mean, but
they have to with her.
If you look back at I mean, of course, they haven't really done this since that I know of, but with NXT Arrival, they had the 2 interview spots with Emma and Bo Dallas where they both started out like derailing the interview from the beginning.
There's a hard line in NXT, and I'm kind of watching that evolve now as I'm going through all the recent episodes.
Sure.
Somewhere in 2014 with the network or whatever, a line was drawn. Before that line, they did corny stuff. They had bad talent. They had WWE main roster superstars in and out of every TV taping. And then thereafter, everything was serious. Everything was produced better. And everything was NXT only, no main roster stuff, technically.
Yeah.
Here and there, you'll have one thing, but you won't have...
just extremely special appearances at times.
So there was a hard line drawn, but she's so good. And I've been lobbying for like 4 weeks now for WWE to hire her.
Yeah,
And they finally listened to me.
I'm glad they listened to you. Yeah,
4 weeks, Duke. You didn't even know who Nikki Storm was 4 weeks ago.
that's true.
Just 100% productivity right there. I just made one person aware from zero.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
100% productivity.
Let's not forget that she's one of the 2 members in the Angry Larry Hall of Fame.
Is that
Do you know who the first one is?
Is that like a hall pass type thing?
It's I have a loose leaf paper here. I rip it out of the notebook.
Not really a hall pass since you're not,
I make up a number for them.
Long-term committed to someone.
And I hang it up on my thing. So Nikki Storm and the Lethal Weapon Steve Blackman are hanging in my rafters.
Oh, of course.
As Angry Larry Hall of Fame right now.
How did I not guess that?
David Flair, honorable mention in the Ring of Honor, like the circle of friends, the circle of whatever. But he's not actually does not have a banner. But David Flair is a good candidate for it too. So
okay,
Nikki Storm. But I want to watch that. Like, how good was that match with Rockstar Spud? Rockstar Spud's entrance made that match, though.
Yeah. Rockstar Spud.
And nobody knows what we're talking about, but I linked Duke to this match that was Nikki Storm versus Rockstar Spud from, it might have been IPW in England or whatever, or Absolutely Insane Wrestling, whatever it was. And Nikki Storm didn't have an opponent, so she open challenge. Her female competitor didn't make it, and Rockstar Spud answers the call, and he comes out to this Bon Jovi song. And he's playing air guitar around the ring. He gets on the ring and he extends his arms and looks to the sky and just holds the pose for like 2.5 minutes as the music plays.
Yeah.
And then he adjusts his knee pad.
Yep.
And then he goes back to the pose. And then he sneezed and goes back to the pose.
Yep.
They turn the music off prematurely. He yells at them. They put the music back on and he holds the pose for the rest of the song. It was probably one of the greatest entrances I've ever seen.
It's easily top 10 best heel entrances ever. Make people
and like top
make
1
people,
for wrestlers under 4 feet tall.
Yeah, fair enough. But make people sit through an entire song while you just stand there.
I had a personal best today, or personal record today.
Okay.
Do you know what happened during SmackDown, which was the first time ever?
What you got?
I toasted a Pop-Tart.
Whoa. Now, did you toast it during the whole show? Because that would be
no, I think
messed up.
I don't remember when I did it, but I think the Ascension were wrestling and I toasted it. But
we probably wouldn't be talking had you done it during the whole show.
No, listen, it could still be going on downstairs. I have no idea. I have headphones on. My windows open. I have no sense of smell. Islanders won, by the way, and before the game, like, there was amazing. We don't know the guy, but amazing. National anthem singer from the Florida Panthers. I guess maybe he's their house guy who they bring him in all the time.
Yeah, he was good.
Sung it phenomenally. One of the best I've ever heard. And then after that happens, when the guys circle the ice in the warm up.
Oh no.
They played Triple H's song.
What?
Time to play the game, and they're like circling. It was pretty good. And the Islanders, when they win at home, more in the Nassau Coliseum than the Barclays Center. They used to do the yes chant after they won with the crowd.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember.
Yeah,
I remember
cool.
seeing that. Yep.
But yeah. But how much longer do I have to filibuster? So you take the Star Wars universe and you
put
it inside the Marvel universe.
I don't know. I thought we were going somewhere with that. I thought this was going to be one of those weird things where someone says a bunch of random stuff and then they connect it all at the end, and it's and like,
then the
wow,
Hulk
that
opens the laboratory and it's Boba Fett. Now he actually exists in the Disney universe. But
thank you so much for joining us. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. And we should be having like an audio only version of this real soon, as soon as I get off my butt and get everything connected the way I want to. But make sure and look out for that. But
I haven't checked my tout in a while.
Check with or make sure and mention Larry on tout. Both of you that have tout, make sure you get on that. And with that, I'm the Duke. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you.
Let's go, Islanders.